Welcome back. We're going to look at something that was, well, it's a journey that has been there in a long one. Pursuant of success in the maritime sector, Nigeria in 2003 passed the Cabotage Law, aka Coastal Inland Shipping Act of 2003. Now, it was designed to sort of restrict foreign participation in Nigeria's domestic coastal trade, but nevertheless, there are a lot of opportunities for the foreign investors. The objective of the Cabotage Law is primarily to reserve the commercial transportation of goods and services within Nigeria's coastal and inland waters to vessels flying the Nigerian flag and owned by persons of Nigerian citizenship. How effective has that law been? How effective has the Cabotage Law been in Nigeria? That's what we want to look at today, with a focus on the maritime sector, focus on the Cabotage Law. And we have in the studio, joining us in the studio in Lagos, is Captain Olani Labinjo. He's a maritime lawyer and president of the Nigerian Ship Owners Association. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much, and it's a pleasure being here.
Also here is Engineer Nnajuno Obuagu, former Executive Director of Operations, NIMASA, and Director General of Nigerian Ship Owners Association.
Thank you very much.
Joining us from our studios in Abuja is Leke Oyewole, Senior Special Assistant to the President on Maritime Services. Thank you for joining us. All right, gentlemen. This is where we are. 2003, that law was passed. How effective would you say it has been, Captain Labinjo?
The Coastal and Inland Shipping Cabotage Act that was passed about 12 years ago has not been very effective. However, there have been some recent developments which we hope will lead to an effective implementation of the act, and that happens just in the last couple of months.
How so? How so?
How so? Excuse me. The following our incessant talk on the ineffectiveness of the Cabotage Act. If you look around, mostly we have foreign vessels dominating our waters.
In spite of?
The Cabotage Act. And yes, there is a vista in the law that allows foreign participation. But that has been the in thing rather than the odd thing. As a result, we have all sorts of vessels that are not even supposed to be specialized. The vista was for specialized vessels. That, okay, should Nigerians not have a specialized vessel, let us allow foreigners to participate in transportation of goods and services. We're talking of goods and services, gentlemen and lady. But what has happened is we spread the waiver thing all over. And even where they have no waivers, they still operate. However, like I said, in the last couple of months, we have had a discussion with the regulatory ministry, and the regulatory ministry is breathing down heavily on NIMASA, asking them to comply fully, and we hope to see the good development in not too distant future.
And well, why has that law failed to achieve its purpose?
Excuse me. Just like the president said, the maritime industry, the finances are available to it. It's a capital-intensive venture. In the country, shipping investment is so difficult because our banks don't even have a hold on how to go about financing these vessels. Two, those who have ventured into it, like members of Nigerian Shipowners Association, have this problem, and this emanates from conspiracy by foreign interest and Nigerians with deep-rooted interest in this money available. So that cabotage is standing on 4 pillars. There is this aspect of Nigerian-owned vessel by Nigerian citizens, which is actually also enshrined in the Merchant Shipping Act. That if a Nigerian citizen or company registered there have 60% interest on any vessel, it has to be registered in Nigeria. That's the general aspect. But registered in Nigeria gives you the opportunity to operate as a Nigerian flag vessel on international arena. But for cabotage vessel, you still have to register in the cabotage registrar. That one, it cannot operate that vessel foreign-wise, but it can operate it coast-wise. So it's been so difficult because of the plethora of waivers available. Waiver on build, waiver on manning, and waiver on ownership. So these things are major. So what happens? Effective enforcement of the cabotage law is key. It's that enforcement that is problem. Too many people are giving it different interpretation. Just like a few days ago or last week, I had a meeting where somebody was saying that you need to have SEA for you to operate in literage of products within Nigeria. I said, what for? SEA is ship inspection report. That's not necessary. But OICs are keen on this to exclude Nigerians. And SEA is like interest group, whereby they say for you to have a vessel to operate in the offshore sector, they have to nominate a surveyor to inspect your vessel, you have to have that certificate. That's not the essence of cabotage law. And NIMASA, the National Maritime Safety Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA, which is the regulator of the maritime sector, if they inspect Nigerian vessel and issue you certificate, nobody has right to reject that vessel from operating, especially within Nigeria.
Is that the situation now?
No, that's not the situation. They are refusing Nigerian vessels with NIMASA certificates. So NIMASA has to ensure that that doesn't happen.
So Nigerian
Who is refusing Nigerian vessels?
The international operator, those who are bringing marketers, including Nigerian marketers, because that is what is happening.
Those who are bringing in products,
Yes.
Not just petroleum
They
products,
prefer
all
to
kinds of
use-
products.
Yes. They prefer to use these foreign vessels
Okay.
because, like I told you, finance is key. Other countries, other nations are interested in what happened to their maritime, and they invest, they give them subsidies, they support them.
Yeah.
In Nigeria, it's not the same.
Okay.
So owners are struggling.
Now, what have owners done about the presence of foreign vessels in the waters where they're not supposed to operate?
Yes, thank you for that question. That is why we carried our matter to the regulator, that is NIMASA, as well as the ministry, the regulating ministry. And they have sympathized with our situation, and they have directed that NIMASA must implement fully the Cabotage Act, and we are very glad about that. We are telling NIMASA...
Is NIMASA doing that yet?
We're still having a lot of discussion with NIMASA. And as an association, our association is very special in the sense that we are investors. You see, we are investors. We have brought our monies together to invest in shipping. We are not just an ordinary professional association. We are a specialized association. So we have an interest in the cabotage running very well. And that is why we have lately decided, after 12 years, that we shall also be controlling, not enforcement, controlling vessels who come into Nigeria. And for that, we have set up a task force. And that task force goes around looking at the vessels that are not complying with the Nigerian Coastal Act, Cabotage Act, and calling on the NIMASA to come and do the needful by way of detention. As a citizen, we have a right to report a crime, isn't it? And that is what we are doing. We move around, and when we see a ship that is not complying, we tell NIMASA, and NIMASA will come and do the needful. And we hope that will happen.
Let's bring in the Special Assistant to the President, Senior Special Assistant to the President, Mr. Lekio Oyewole, Senior Special Assistant to the President. Thank you for joining us. Now, the situation in the maritime sector where the cabotage law is not being adhered to, especially by foreign investors or foreign companies who are bringing in products into the country, has that been brought to your notice?
Yeah, good. Part of it several times, and we have been on it even since the inception of this administration. I've been in constant touch with the key stakeholders. We've been working out the best ways to go around it. But I'll tell you that indeed, like the people in the studio in Lagos already mentioned, the critical factors here remains funding. Shipping is highly capital intensive. The indigenous people need the support as much as possible from government. And this support can come in two ways. That's before we go to the issues of enforcement. The support can come in terms of making money available. The support can also come in terms of making strict enforcement of the laws possible, and also allowing whatever cargo is due to the indigenous people to be carried by them. We've had problems along these lines. Talk about the cabotage vessel financing fund. Up till now, I'm not sure if anybody has been able to access that money.
And why is that so?
It is a money designed to ease the costs of running ships or buying ships in Nigeria.
Mr. Oyewole, if I may come in here, why is it that those operating in the maritime sector have not been able to access the fund?
Yes, they have not been able to access it largely because of various factors. I think it's ranged from the bank to NIMASA and to necessary approvals.
Necessary approvals from who?
I think it will come from, it's between both NIMASA and the ministry, and probably the ministry may seek the president's consent, to do it. But the president also, or whoever is involved in this line, would also be conscious of what happened in the past and be sure that the banks that are involved this time around are able to ensure that people that take this money pay back adequately.
All right, hold on. We'll come back to you. Let's get a reaction from the members and the Director General here.